Discriminate as verb. To make a distinction or a judgment between things based on specific criteria. To recognize a difference or a distinction between things. The company does not discriminate against job applicants on the basis of their race, gender, or religion. It is important to discriminate between reliable sources of information and unreliable ones. The doctor was able to discriminate between the symptoms of the two different illnesses. The human ear is able to discriminate between a wide range of sounds, from the faintest whisper to the loudest explosion. The study aimed to investigate how people discriminate between different levels of noise pollution in urban areas. Arch as adjective. Having a curved shape, typically used to describe a natural feature, such as a rock formation. The arch-villain was the mastermind behind the evil plot to take over the world. The arch-enemy had been a thorn in his side for years, always finding a way to thwart his plans. The arch-nemesis was the one opponent he feared most, knowing that they were evenly matched. The arch-rival was a fierce competitor who always pushed him to be his best. The archbishop was the highest-ranking bishop in the church, responsible for overseeing multiple dioceses.
Reprobate as noun, a person who is morally condemned or disapproved of, a person who is unprincipled or depraved. The criminal was a known reprobate with a long history of offenses. The reprobates loitering outside the store scared away customers. The community center was a refuge for reprobates and troubled youths. The judge declared the defendant a reprobate and sentenced him to jail. The reprobate's friends abandoned him when he needed them the most.
Analogous as adjective. In biology, used to describe organs or structures that perform similar functions in different organisms, but have different evolutionary origins, similar or alike in some way, having analogy or resemblance. The structure of the human eye is analogous to that of a camera. The way a computer stores information is analogous to the way a filing cabinet stores documents. The relationship between a teacher and student can be analogous to that of a guide and a traveler. The process of natural selection in biology is analogous to the process of market competition in economics. The way a child learns to speak a language is analogous to how a computer program is trained with data. Remonstrate as verb. To argue or plead with someone in an attempt to persuade them. To present or offer objections, protests, or objections to someone. The employee remonstrated with their boss about the unfair workload. The parent remonstrated with their child about the importance of honesty. The teacher remonstrated with the student about their disruptive behavior in class. The activist remonstrated with the government about the need for climate action. The customer remonstrated with the store manager about the defective product they had purchased.
Palaver as noun, a long and tedious conversation or discussion, often one that is fruitless or pointless, a noisy and chaotic disturbance or commotion. The group spent the evening in palaver, catching up and telling stories. The meeting was filled with palaver, and not much progress was made. She was tired of the palaver in the office, and just wanted to focus on her work. The sales pitch was full of palaver and didn't provide enough substance. The teacher warned the students to avoid palaver during class.
Boorish as adjective. It can also describe someone who is ill-mannered, coarse, or lacking in refinement. To behavior or manners that are rude, unrefined, and lacking in social grace or respect for others. His boorish behavior at the dinner party offended many guests. The boss's boorish management style created a toxic work environment. The athlete's boorish treatment of his fans and teammates led to a decline in popularity. The customer's boorish demands made it difficult for the salesperson to assist them. The comedian's boorish humor relied heavily on offensive stereotypes. Smug is adjective. Having or showing an excessive pride in oneself or one's achievements. Conceited. Satisfied with one's own abilities or situation. He had a smug expression on his face after winning the argument. The company's CEO was smug about the profits despite the negative impact on the environment. The politician's smug attitude towards her opponents turned off some voters. The wealthy businessman was smug about his success, disregarding the struggles of others. The actress was criticized for her smug acceptance speech at the awards ceremony. Corroborate as verb. To confirm or support with additional evidence or information. To validate or back up with further proof. The eyewitness testimony corroborated the security camera footage, providing strong evidence against the suspect. The scientists' research findings were corroborated by independent studies conducted by other research teams. The witness statement corroborated the victim's account of the events leading up to the accident. The forensic evidence corroborated the prosecutor's theory of how the crime was committed. The internal investigation corroborated the whistleblower's allegations of misconduct within the company. Magnanimous as adjective. Generous and unselfish in spirit, especially towards an adversary. Showing a noble and gracious spirit. He showed a magnanimous spirit by forgiving his enemies. The magnanimous donor gave millions to charity without seeking any recognition. She was magnanimous in her victory speech, thanking her opponents and pledging to work with them. A magnanimous leader takes responsibility for the team's failures and gives credit to the team for its successes. The king demonstrated his magnanimous nature by pardoning his enemies and restoring their lands. Reproach is verb. To criticize or express disapproval of someone or something. To express disapproval or criticism of someone or something, often in a way that implies blame or fault. The teacher reproached the student for cheating on the exam. The boss reproached the employee for being late to work. The parent reproached the child for not cleaning up their room. The coach reproached the player for unsportsmanlike behavior on the field. The friend reproached their friend for breaking their promise to meet up for lunch. Parsimonious as adjective. Characterized by being frugal or thrifty, avoiding waste or extravagance. Economical or frugal in the use of resources, especially money. The parsimonious landlord refused to make any repairs to the apartment. The company's parsimonious approach to salaries led to high employee turnover. The parsimonious boss wouldn't even let his employees use the company's coffee machine. The miserly old man was known for his parsimonious ways. The parsimonious shopper refused to buy anything that wasn't on sale. Belligerent as adjective. Hostile and aggressive in nature or behavior. Relating to or engaged in war or warfare. The belligerent drunkard was causing a disturbance in the bar. The coach criticized the player for his belligerent behavior on and off the field. The country's belligerent stance on territorial disputes led to international condemnation. The student was sent to the principal's office for his belligerent attitude towards the teacher. The party guests were taken aback by the host's belligerent outburst. Mitigate as verb. To make something less severe, intense, or harmful. To reduce the impact, severity, or intensity of something. The company took steps to mitigate the effects of the pandemic on their employees by allowing remote work. She tried to mitigate the damage to her reputation by issuing a public apology. The doctor prescribed medication to mitigate the patient's pain. The government implemented measures to mitigate the environmental impact of the construction project. The school implemented policies to mitigate bullying and harassment among students.
Saturnine as adjective. Having a slow, sluggish, and gloomy temperament. Having a sullen or melancholy disposition or appearance. The CEO's saturnine demeanor suggested that he was not to be trifled with. The dark saturnine clouds overhead signaled the arrival of an impending storm. The movie's saturnine soundtrack perfectly captured the melancholic mood of the story. The actor's saturnine expression conveyed a deep sense of sadness and loss. The writer's saturnine prose was both haunting and evocative.
Frivolous as adjective. Lacking serious purpose or value. Unimportant, trivial, or superficial. His lawsuit was dismissed by the judge for being frivolous. The conversation turned to more frivolous topics after the serious discussion had ended. She spent the entire day engaging in frivolous activities instead of working on her assignments. The argument was dismissed as frivolous by the other party. He was criticized for his frivolous spending habits. Eccentric as adjective. Deviating from the norm or common behavior or manner. Unusual, unconventional, or quirky in behavior or appearance. The artist's eccentric style made his paintings stand out from the rest. The CEO was known for his eccentric behavior, such as wearing mismatched socks to important meetings. The old mansion had an eccentric design, with secret passageways and hidden rooms. The professor's eccentric teaching methods were loved by some students but disliked by others. The eccentric billionaire spent his money on unusual hobbies like collecting vintage cars and building giant robots. Verisimilitude as noun. The appearance or quality of being true or real, often with regard to a story, event, or idea. The likelihood or probability of something being true or real, often based on a comparison with known facts or experience. The defendant's alibi lacked verisimilitude and was quickly discredited. The historian questioned the verisimilitude of the popular legend. The actor's performance lacked verisimilitude and failed to convince the audience. The author's use of detail and description gives the story a sense of verisimilitude. The special effects in the movie were so convincing that they added to its verisimilitude.
Misanthrope as noun. A person who dislikes or distrusts humankind and avoids human society. Someone who holds a negative attitude towards others and is cynical about human nature. Despite her outwardly friendly demeanor, she was secretly a misanthrope. He was known to be a misanthrope and rarely interacted with others. The character in the play was a misanthrope who despised all of humanity. Many people mistakenly believe that misanthropes are simply introverted or shy. The famous philosopher was often described as a misanthrope due to his pessimistic views on human nature.
Aberration as noun. A departure from what is normal, usual, or expected, especially an unwelcome one. An abnormal condition or state. The company's financial loss this quarter was an aberration, as they had been performing well in previous quarters. The current market volatility is an aberration from the historical trend. His recent behavior was an aberration from his usual calm demeanor. The miscommunication between the departments was an aberration that led to costly delays. The sudden increase in crime in the small town was an aberration that left the residents shocked. Ready to boost your English or ace the GRE? Meet the GRE Vocabulary app, a fun and effective way to master language. Learn advanced words with examples and audio. Master idioms, proverbs, and phrasal verbs. Enjoy quizzes, flashcards, and pronunciation tests. Customize your practice by difficulty or focus. Translate into 100+ languages with ease. Did you learn new words? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my channel. Download now and start your journey to vocabulary mastery.